So Jesus asked the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda, "Do you want to be made well?" Bethesda, also known as Solomon's porch, is where crowds of sick people would gather to stir up in the waters for healing. They went to a healing pool, and they were waiting for what goes in a lot of old time religious folklore as the troubling of the water, because it was believed at that time that an angel would stir up the waters, and whoever was in the waters at that particular time in this pool of Bethesda was healed. Mind you, this pool had no irrigation. Times were so infirmity driven at that time that an average life expectancy was about 28 years old. Illness and disease was so rampant. All throughout the Gospels, you hear thousands of sick people being healed at once. Crowds being brought to Jesus to be healed at night under the cover of darkness. So in this, with the man on the mat, he was said to be paralyzed or an invalid for 38 years. Now 3 plus 8 is 11. He was on the backside of the tree. He was in the clip off. He was in the husk. This healing pool was a husk pile. They were going through husk because the man had been going to this pool for 40 years. And the man told Jesus this as his response to Jesus's question if he wants to be made well. He said, "I have nobody to bring me into the pool when the water stirs. Every time I want to go, there's always somebody who cuts ahead of me." Jesus told this man to pick up his mat and go home. The man was healed that very moment. Jesus in this story led the man to the grain. This is also how you get unstuck too. Another way of saying getting unstuck. You have to pick up the thing that you're laying on, what you support, what you see your life to be. To pick something up is to examine it. So hold your life up, examine it, right? This is where healing comes from. You're starting with examination, just like the doctors do. So pick up your mat, pick up your hustle, pick up your craft, pick up your job, pick up your home life. You pick this up, right? And you go home. Home is where? Where the heart is. You go within your heart chakra. Go within that forest, that sacred glen. Go home with this thing that you're examining. With your examinations, go home. Go within. The people who are going to get their healing at the pool, but are only getting sicker, stepping in a pool with other tons of sick people and no real irrigation, they are dealing with things from the outside, seeking everything from without. They're not picking up their mats at all. They're leaving their mats and getting in the water, in the same water, a water that does not stir naturally. They're getting in a pool, but you're getting away from the sickness. You're getting away from the husk, away from the crowds of negative naysayers. This represents the people in the pool waiting on some angel, waiting on a supernatural force, and they're really playing lottery. They're hoping to get a chance, but in risk for a healing, they're willing to get in a situation that can further infirm them. So this is what it's like to be on the wrong side of a clique, to be caught up in the wrong circle, a circle that's going nowhere, where perspectives that can be damaging to you. He's going the other way. He's picking up his mat and he's going home. No matter how long he was laying there, it was fortunate for him that he never got a chance to get in, because this would have made him even sicker. Think about it. Tons of sick people. Pandemic times 12 at that time. Not even the same kind of sanitary products on the scene. No medicines, no vaccines, no boosters. Nothing of the sort was around at this time. People were actually doing surgery and medical work with actual carpenter tools. They were using the same thing that a man would cut a 2x4 with on somebody's real physical wound, or to cut, you know what I mean? These same tools were used. Carpentry tools were also used for surgery in those days, making things even worse. But see, what Jesus represents is what? The carpenter's son. So he's equipped to not only build a person's life according to what he symbolizes, but he's also able to do the necessary surgery with the same tool that he uses to build you. Because the world, as you and I can testify on a lot of levels, is what? Very, very sick, deeply infirmed, right? We can see this on quite a few levels, right? This is being shown, advertised. So the carpenter of this time is just like the carpenter of that time when we're speaking of higher dimensions of consciousness. Not only are we building a person's psychology up, but we're also cutting away. We're doing the necessary surgeries. We're cutting away the necessary enemies, targets that may have latched on to certain parts of their psyche. We're doing psychic surgery. That's what this is. This is a psychic surgery. Cutting out spiritual tumors, spiritual cancers. You know, things that nag you at the back of your mind. You know, all of these things are spiritual tumors, which can, a lot of instances, become physical. So we might as well use the spiritual tools, the weapons of our warfare that are not carnal, and just pull down these strongholds by cutting it away psychologically. Because if you can do that, if you can get the mind right, the body's going to follow. Jesus didn't ask this man, did he want to get well? Getting well suggests that there's going to be a time coming where you're going to be again unwell, and you're going to have to continue to get well. Cycles, revolutions, repeating paradigms. But being made well is totally different. You have a change of life, a change of purpose, a change of direction. You're made over. You are different. Not just the treating of the symptoms. The symptoms, there's more than just an eradication of an illness. There's a change of personhood that takes place in being made. It's one thing to get money, but it's another thing to be a made man. So again, this is Super T Sigma with Sigma Programming. Thank you again for your time and attention. And you already know, over here, reaching is teaching. Continue to vibrate high, people. Peace.